Good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. Don Boy 718. We in the building today. Hope y'all had a real good week. It was what it was. It was lit. It was so much going on this week, y'all. March Madness was so solidified. If y'all didn't catch these games, it should be a shame. You know, we had the game last night. Very big disappointment, y'all. Very big disappointment was logged in. I mean, we had the fact of, St. John's, they were doing their thing. St. John's was doing their thing, y'all. But up until last night, we had a major snip. Major snip. You know, it was just sad. It was just sad, and I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe the fact that St. John's, after everything, we were disappointed by Duke last night. We made it past Northern Iowa, or then we went to make it past Kansas and Darren Peterson. And then we get to Duke and we run into Caden Boozer. Actually, there was this young man that came back last night that did some things for them. Caleb Forster. I think Caleb Forster was the story. They say that he was missing. He wasn't there for Duke during the earlier part of the season. He got hurt or something like that towards the end, so they're glad to see him back. But this guy, 11 points, you know, he gets in there and gives us a difficult time for St. John's. I mean, Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins, they were doing what they got to do. Bryce Hopkins and Zuby Ejiofor, they were handling their business. Zuby Ejiofor finished with 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. 18, 8, and 6. Then we had Dylan Mitchell, who had 13 points. But then the story was Bryce Hopkins, because Bryce Hopkins was doing him with 15 points and 7 rebounds. But you want to know who gave us something off the bench? Ruben Prey. Ruben Prey, he hit 4 3-pointers. He was 4 for 4, 12 points. That was an uplift and something to actually help us to get to where we got to go. And the thing is that we know when it comes to the game of basketball, nothing is promised, right? You have to go out there, you have to cross your T's, your X's and O's, and play ball. And why can't people play ball or do what they got to do if you are in a team environment? Follow the basics. We need the basics to be able to win. St. John's last night, nothing against them. They had a great season, but they could have beat Duke. They lost last night on their own. Duke did not win against St. John's. I mean, on paper, technically they did, but St. John's, they got down to the end, and of course the referees had something to do with it, because the referees were missing calls and then calling bogus calls against St. John's. But I just want to tell you this. Shout out to everybody that made it to St. John's Red Storm and the Duke Blue Devils, because these are all quality young men and they're all going to go to the league, I believe, at one point and make the NBA better. But right now, while they're in college and playing, this makes some crazy sense, man. I wouldn't say it makes crazy sense, because St. John's was rated as one of the teams to be able to go and win the championship, but things changed up because of what had happened with teams like Duke. North Carolina was a failure. We can't even compare North Carolina to us. We were steamrolling. The only ones that was in our sight that we were looking at was UConn, and we didn't get to get that fight with UConn because of this happened last night. Shout out to Zuby Ejiofor and the whole St. John's Red Storm. Coach Rick Pitino, thank you for doing a great job of putting these young men together and for, giving New York something to, celebrate for, actually, you know what I mean? Because it's been a while. 27 years since New York, since we had a team in the Sweet 16, which is very hard to get to, period. So shout out to them for that. And Cameron Boozer, he had 22 points last night and 10 rebounds. He had his average. And then Isaiah Evans, this boy, he was just going in. Isaiah Evans, the sophomore from out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, he had 25 last night, and that put us away. But I think that's St. John's. I hope this team stays together and they bring them back for next year because it's going to be serious and it's going to be official. And if Zuby Ejiofor comes back, he's going to be highly ranked, and this St. John's team will definitely be one to fear, and we have a lot to bring. Right now, the way the tournament is looking, with UConn moving on last night against the Michigan State Spartans, the Spartans could have had UConn last night too. It would have been another upset if St. John's and UConn both did not make it. But UConn, Coach Bobby Hurley down here, he's got these guys, doing their thing. They won 67 to 63 last night. 67 to 63, and they did their thing. Tarris Reed Jr. If you don't know Tarris Reed Jr., get to know him because he's NBA bound also, but this guy, he's something special, a real talent that's been brought up under Coach Hurley, and he's been developed into a natural player, and he can be able to do some things on the court to help the team to win, and he's very athletic, and this is someone to pay attention to. Tarris Reed Jr., the center. We need more centers coming out of the college world right now and increase the backcourt, the front court in the NBA, make it a little better, and this is one of the young men that's going to do that, I believe. There were disappointments with the Arizona Wildcats taking out Darius Acuff in Arkansas. At least Darius Acuff, that was another disappointment, but I know that Darius Acuff, we're going to see him come June in the NBA draft. Him and Darren Peterson, it's going to be something. It's going to be something for real, though. There was some shakeups and bakes in this NCAA tournament, and some of them, they were surprising. The others, like you had Tennessee taking out, number 6 Tennessee last night took out number 2 Iowa State to make it to the Elite 8. This is serious business. Nate Emmett, he tried for Tennessee with 18-4. Felix Okpara with the double-double. But Iowa State, they were determined. They had Nate Heath. Nate Heath with 18-5. And also Tamin Lipsey with 18-5. Those two guards, they ran the floor. They made it happen. And they were able to move this Tennessee team led by Nate Emmett and his team took out Lipsey and Heath. So they're gonna go on now to actually play. What do we have next? In the Elite 8, we're gonna have Tennessee and Michigan in the Elite 8. Purdue and Arizona, shout out to the Purdue Boilermakers. That Arizona thing, 109 to 88. That's a 21-point blowout. And it was something special. Very special. Iowa and Nebraska, another one. So you're going to have Iowa and Illinois in the Elite 8. UConn and Duke, that's going to be tomorrow at 5 o'clock, 5:05. That's going to be a good game. I'm going to go with UConn on this one against Duke. It's going to be a tough battle, even though that's going to be a clash because Duke has what it takes also. You saw what happened with St. John's last night. If Duke could take out St. John's the way that they did last night, what does that say for a UConn team that's going in there on the legs of an Alice Caribbean in this squad? I think that there's going to be a clash, and UConn may come off with the pending, but if Duke play their A game, they should have this. No problem. Out of Illinois and Iowa, I'm going to go with Illinois to fight Illinois. They've been doing their thing. I told y'all to watch them earlier in the season. Purdue and Arizona, I'm going with Arizona on that. That's a dangerous team. Arizona could win the whole chip. Tennessee and Michigan, I'm relying on Michigan to do what they got to do. They should be able to hold us down in the Final Four. Your Final Four for next Saturday should be Michigan and Arizona, Illinois, and UConn. Unless Duke pull off that surprise, which they have the manpower and the resources to do. That's on the men's side of things. Now, when we go to women's basketball over here now, you see what happened? The Duke Blue Devil women, they're winning too. They're doing things over here. They're taking wins and W's. And you have to think Taina Mir and Toby Fournier for Duke and the women. They just got past Floyd J. Johnson and Michaela Williams last night. Floyd J. Johnson went out with 13 points and five rebounds. She went 6 for 15. She had a bad shooting day. Michaela Williams also went 6 for 15, but she had 22 points and 5 rebounds. So it was a tough day for Malaysia Fulwali and the team. Malaysia Fulwali had 28 points, but it was not enough. And the Duke Blue Devils, they upset LSU in the Sweet 16 to advance to be able to go to the Elite Eight. This Elite Eight is going to be special. You had yesterday also, you had the Minnesota Bears lose to Lauren Betts and the UCLA Bears, the UCLA Bruins. Shout out to Lauren Betts. That UCLA team looking real mean. I see them beating on teams, and they getting physical out there. These young ladies are not afraid to play. There's a lot of action on this women's WCBB, women's college basketball side of things of the NCAA. I'm telling you. Notre Dame, Hannah Hidalgo and the ladies, they just got past a tough Vanderbilt squad. This Vanderbilt squad is something serious, but not like Hannah Hidalgo and the girls. Shout out to Hannah Hidalgo and them. Hannah Hidalgo had 31 and 11 yesterday. She almost had a triple-double. 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists to lead this Notre Dame team past this Vanderbilt squad led by Michaela Blakes and Aubrey Galvin. But shout out to what's happening right now in college basketball. These women are doing great things. UConn smashed on UNC. Sarah Strong and the girls did what they did. AZ Fudd, they're making up for lost time. Sarah Strong with 21 points and 10 rebounds last night. And then you're going to have AZ Fudd with only 10 and 5. But they had work from Blanca Quinones with the 16 and 3. So that led them pretty good. So you know what it is. Don Boy 718, we in the building, y'all. That's what it is. Check us out. Any good time. We give you the scores. Then we're going to blaze it just like this. Today you're going to have Louisville and Michigan in the women's bracket, Kentucky and Texas. That Texas team is very dangerous with Madison Booker, so I'm relying on them to take out Kentucky. That Kentucky team, they've been fighting, but this is where the road ends for Kentucky, and I'm relying upon Madison Booker to bring it home. I don't know if she's going to drop 40 tonight, but she's going to do something. And then TCU, Olivia Miles, I'm looking at Elite Eight for her against this Virginia team, and let's go. South Carolina Gamecocks, Sweet 16 against Oklahoma. Raven Johnson. If Tessa Johnson starts to get hot and starts shooting them threes, it's going to be a different ball game. So you know what's going to happen with the University of South Carolina. Shout out Dawn Staley. They have a heck of a coach. This is going to look great for women's basketball. Can't wait to see. Can't wait to see. It's going to look good. It's going to look good. College basketball, y'all, that's what's happening right now. We're going to keep y'all updated. Keep following Don Boy 718 and checking out the show, and we're going to keep you informed.